Wednesday, February 13, 2003. Businessman Amarjit Chohan receives an urgent phone call from his trusted driver, Reagan.
Hello?
Reagan informs that he must attend an important meeting where a secret deal has been arranged with an investor. If the agreement is finalized, Arjun will secure £3 million. The meeting is set to take place at Forge Field, a house in Wiltshire. Arjun drives 70 miles to reach the house at Forge Field. When he arrives, a chill runs through him. The area is completely empty, and an unsettling silence fills the air. Something feels very wrong. Suddenly, Reagan steps out of the house, smiling as if everything is fine. He greets Arjun warmly and leads him inside, but the room is bare and cold. Arjun starts to feel nervous because there's no one else around. Suddenly, two unknown men storm in. Before Arjun can react, they grab him and tie him to a chair. Arjun's heart pounds. He trusted Reagan, his own driver, but now it's clear he's been betrayed. Reagan calmly places some blank papers on the table and demands Arjun sign them. The plan is simple but scary. Reagan wants to take all Arjun properties. Arjun refuses, his voice shaking but firm. He knows that something horrible is waiting for him. At Reagan's signal, his two assistants brutally torture Arjun, trying to force him to obey. Still, he refuses. Then Reagan reveals a terrifying plan. If Arjun doesn't do as he's told, his entire family will be in grave danger. Arjun, worried about his family, reluctantly signs the blank papers, hoping this might keep them safe and allow him to go free. But his nightmare isn't over. Today, Reagan reveals his true nature. He is a cold-hearted monster. He already has two evil plans, Plan A and Plan B. Reagan knows that if Arjun survives, he could expose everything to the police. To ensure this doesn't happen, Reagan implements Plan A. First, he forces Arjun to send a voice message to his wife, so she doesn't worry about him. The room is filled with a heavy, suffocating silence. Arjun thinks of his family's happy faces, realizing these might be the last moments of his life. On Reagan's orders, one of his assistants tightly tapes Arjun's face. Then it's all over. Reagan writes a false letter on a blank page, signed by Arjun, to mislead the police. He carefully hides the letter in Arjun's sock. Arjun's lifeless body slumps in the chair. Reagan and his men laugh loudly, confident their sinister plan is flawless. But Reagan isn't finished. He moves to activate Plan B, which is even more dangerous than the first. The big question is, does Plan B mean erasing Arjun's entire family?
Open the door! Open the door now!
Who are you? Why are you here?
Open it! Don't make me say it again!
I ask, who are you? What do you want?
What the f***?
This is the Chohan family, full of love and happiness. Amarjit Chohan's wife, Neha, and their two little boys, 18-month-old Rajinder and 8-week-old Surinder, made their home a cheerful place. Neha's mother, Amrit Kaur, often stays with them, helping to take care of the kids. Their cozy house in Heston, West London, is always filled with laughter and love. In the late 1980s, Arjun leaves his home in Punjab, India, to seek better opportunities for his family. He works tirelessly to succeed in London's competitive business world. After years of effort, Arjun establishes his own company, Sea Freight, near Heathrow Airport. It is an export-import business, and it thrives under his leadership. The company earns £5 million annually, and Arjun becomes a respected and successful businessman, proud of what he has built for his family. Arjun is now a millionaire, but running his large business is becoming overwhelming. Neha often shares her dream of returning to India, believing their sons will receive a better education there and stay connected to their cultural roots. She envisions a fresh start filled with happiness. Hearing Neha's hopes, Arjun begins considering selling sea freight, but it's not an easy decision. He wants to ensure the company is sold at a fair price to an investor who will protect both the business and its employees. It is midnight. The family sits together in one room, their faces filled with worry. That morning, Arjun left for the office, but he hasn't come back. His phone is off and every attempt to reach him fails. When Neha calls his office, she hears something shocking, a voice message from Arjun saying he's on an urgent business trip to the Netherlands. But that's impossible. His passport is with the UK government for a residency permit application. How could he leave the country? As the night drags on, Neha's worry only deepens. Her mother softly tries to comfort her, but the fear gripping Neha refuses to fade. Little Surinder sleeps peacefully, unaware of the tension. Rajinder, however, sits silently, his wide, curious eyes fixed on his mother's anxious face. He doesn't fully understand what's happening, but even he can sense it. The heavy silence in the room feels like something is terribly, terribly wrong. Suddenly, Neha's phone buzzes with a voice message. Yes, it's from Arjun.
Neha, I have to leave for an urgent trip. I'll be back soon. Don't worry about me.
Neha quickly calls back, but the line goes dead. Arjun's phone is switched off. Her heart sinks. Arjun always tells her about his business trips, and he never speaks to her in English, only in Punjabi. Something feels very wrong. Fear tightens its grip on Neha, keeping her awake through the long, dark night. On February 14th, 2003, Neha calls her brother, Raj Verma, her voice shaking with fear. She tells him about Arjun's strange disappearance, her words spilling out in panic. Raj tries to comfort her. Though he is in New Zealand and Neha is in London, their sibling bond feels as strong as ever. Raj promises to fly to London immediately, but urges Neha to stay calm and keep her children and mother safe. He advises her to contact the London police immediately. Neha takes a deep breath and reluctantly ends the call. In the evening, a van stops in front of Arjun's house. Inside, the family is frozen with fear. Reagan and his two assistants stand at the door, their cold eyes full of danger. The nightmare unfolds. Reagan is here to execute his chilling Plan B. He knows Arjun's sudden disappearance hasn't tricked the family, so he must stop them from going to the police. Rajinder and Surinder cry in fear, their small voices breaking the silence of the house. Reagan points his gun, forcing them into silence. As the night drags on, Reagan grows more cruel. Neha and her mother cry softly, terrified and heartbroken, especially when they realize that Arjun is no longer alive. Neha pleads with Reagan to spare her children, begging for mercy, but he ignores her. With cold and calculated brutality, they destroy everything, every life, every hope. A once happy family vanishes, consumed by Reagan's greed and evil plan. Under the cover of night, Reagan and his assistants load the Chohan family's bodies into their van and drive to a secluded farmhouse in Tiverton, Devon. In the eerie stillness, they dig graves and bury their terrible secret. Reagan feels a twisted sense of relief as a sinister smile spreads across his face. Because his plan has been successful, he believes there are no witnesses left to expose what they've done. Reagan is completely wrong. Someone knows the truth. Hidden in the shadows, a silent witness has seen everything. Reagan's nightmare is far from over. It is only beginning. But who is this silent witness? His full name is Kendrick Regan. He is an ordinary driver, but he's not an ordinary man. Reagan is a mastermind of the underworld who once lived a life of luxury and power. In the late 1990s, Regan was a notorious figure in London's underworld, known as Captain Cash. He made his fortune by smuggling drugs, laundering money, and creating fake passports for dangerous criminals. But in 1998, his empire crumbled when he was caught with 30 kilograms of heroin. He was sentenced to 18 years in prison for his crimes. While in prison, Reagan made a deal with the police. He became an informant, sharing secrets about drug operations and helping catch major criminals. In return, his sentence was reduced to just 4 years. But prison didn't change him. It only made him more determined and dangerous. Reagan is frustrated after his release from prison in 2002. With no money left, he becomes desperate to reclaim his once luxurious lifestyle. Determined to restart his illegal schemes, he searches for the perfect cover. That's when he discovers Amarjit Chohan's thriving company, Sea Freight, earning £5 million a year. To Reagan, it's more than a business. It's the ideal target. Slowly, his greed takes over, planting the seeds for something dark and terrible to come. In January 2003, Reagan walks into Amarjit's company with a convincing story. He says he's trying to start fresh after prison and is looking for an honest job. Amarjit, known for his kind heart and willingness to help, decides to give him a chance and hires Reagan as a delivery driver at Sea Freight. But behind Reagan's friendly acting lies a dangerous plan. This job isn't about starting fresh. It's the beginning of his scheme to take over everything Amarjit has built. Within a month, Reagan gains Amarjit's trust so completely that Amarjit does not hesitate to share any internal matters of the company. Reagan also discovers Amarjit's plans to sell the business to secure his family's future in India. Seizing this opportunity, Reagan begins implementing his sinister Plan A and Plan B. February 15th, 2003. With forged documents in hand, Reagan arrives at Sea Freight. The employees gather around him, their expressions filled with doubt. Reagan announces that Amarjit has moved to India with his family and has handed over the company to him. The employees remain skeptical, but all of Reagan's paperwork appears legitimate, leaving no room for argument. He confidently tells them he's now in charge and assures everyone that the company will run smoothly. But something feels off. The manager of Sea Freight hasn't been able to reach Amarjit since February 13th, and his wife's phone has been off since the night of February 14th. Now Reagan suddenly claims to be the new owner of the company. Confused and uneasy, the employees call the police. Reagan confidently presents paperwork that appears to prove his ownership. After reviewing the documents, the police find nothing suspicious and see no reason to question him further. To investigate further, the police visit Amarjit's house. What they find is unsettling. The house is locked and empty. Neighbors have no idea where the family is. With no evidence of wrongdoing, the police assume Amarjit has transferred everything to Reagan and left for India with his family. Finally, the police stop their investigation. On March 5th, 2003, Raj Verma flies to London from New Zealand. His sister Neha her family and their mother have suddenly vanished, but Raj knows they wouldn't leave without telling him. Desperate, he pleads with the police to reopen the case. He points out that Arjun's passport is at the UK Home Office, so he can't leave the country. Neha's last call to him wasn't normal. Her voice was filled with fear. Raj is sure something terrible has happened. The mystery grows darker, and Raj knows they must act quickly to uncover the truth. When the police step into the Chohan house at Verma's request, an unsettling stillness greets them. The house feels frozen in time. Clothes are still in the washing machine, food is left on the table, and the children's things are untouched. Most disturbingly, Amrit Kaur's holy book, the Guru Granth Sahib, is still in its usual place. Verma's voice shakes as he tells the police, "My mother would never leave without her scripture. Never." The eerie scene tells a chilling story. This is no ordinary departure. The police, now shocked by the evidence, realize this disappearance is much more serious than they first thought. On March 21st, the case of the missing Chohan family takes a dark turn. The police hand it over to New Scotland Yard's Serious Crime Group. They fear something terrible might have happened. Maybe kidnapping or even murder. No one has touched the family's bank accounts. And Reagan suddenly takes over sea freight with strange legal papers. Everything points to Reagan, but there's no proof to arrest him. The mystery grows, and no one knows what really happened to the Chohan family. Sunday, April 20th. Reagan feels scared as the police get closer to discovering the truth. In a rush to hide the evidence, he and his helpers, Thomas Hornsey and Patrick Rees, dig up the bodies from the farmhouse in Devon. Late at night, they put the bodies in sacks and drive to the Dorset coast. Using a rented boat, they drop the sacks into the deep sea, thinking no one will ever find them. But Reagan is wrong. On April 22nd, a father and son canoeing near Bournemouth Pier find a sack floating in the sea, with a body inside. The shocking discovery shakes the police investigation. While it's suspected to be one of the missing Chohan family members, but forensic confirmation is pending. Meanwhile, Indian agents confirm that none of the Chohan family has arrived in India. The question remains, where are they, and are they safe? This is Belinda Parker. She plays a big role in solving the mystery of the Chohan family. She provides crucial information to the crime group, enough to bring Reagan close to facing the death penalty. Since 1990, Belinda and Reagan have been good friends. She trusts him and thinks he is a good man who can help her. To her, Reagan seems polite and kind. She never imagines he is hiding such a dark and dangerous side. Belinda owns this secluded farmhouse in Tiverton, Devon. Reagan is allowed to visit the farmhouse whenever he wants, even when Belinda is away in the city for work. Reagan takes advantage of this freedom. On the day Reagan is covering up his crime at the farmhouse, he has no idea that Belinda will return unexpectedly from the city. She hides to protect herself and ends up witnessing Reagan's horrific actions. Fear keeps Belinda silent for a long time, but now she is fearless. She wants Reagan to face justice and pay for his crimes. April 29th, 2003. Following Belinda's interview with the crime group, a forensic team raids the farmhouse and collects several samples. Then, something incredible happens that changes everything. The DNA from the body found in the sea matches the samples from the farmhouse and Arjun's clothes from his home. The pieces of the puzzle finally start coming together, and the mystery becomes clearer. That night, realizing their crime is uncovered, Reagan and Hornsey escape on a ferry to France. Meanwhile, Rees takes a different path and hides with a friend in Gloucestershire. On July 15th, fishermen near the Isle of Wight find another body in the water. This time, it is identified as Neha Chohan. The final heartbreaking discovery happens on September 7th, when Amrit Kaur's body washes ashore. Despite many searches, the two youngest victims, Rajinder and Surinder, are never found. The crime group works hard to catch the criminals. On May 14, 2003, Patrick Rees is arrested at a pub in Colford. By August 2nd, Kendrick Regan is found and captured at a campsite in Ghent, Belgium. Finally, on September 2nd, Hornsey surrenders to the police in Dover. On July 1st, 2005, the jury gives its final verdict. Regan and Hornsey, the masterminds behind the terrible crime, are found guilty of all 5 murders and are sentenced to life in prison without parole. Rees, who is involved in Arjun's murder and helped hide the truth, is given a life sentence with a minimum of 23 years in prison.